So you're in the market for a Parawing. There's so many to choose from. Which one? In this video, we're gonna test them all. Let's go.
Welcome to Matt on Foil.
So this video is pretty long and it is pretty hard to process. A lot of numbers. I'm not gonna say everything about every Parawing. So if you're interested in the facts and the length and the weight, go on uponfoil.com. That's my website of my podcast usually, but there I have a section, Parawing Comparison. I made this table where every measurement I did is on, so you can just go on there and just check it out. And if you like it and it helps you, maybe for your next purchase, think about helping me out. There's a link in the description. You can buy me a coffee. That would be super appreciated. But let's get into what Parawings we have. And I have the BRM Kanaha 4.7. Thank you very much, JP. We have the Aeryn P1. Thank you very much, Adi. We have the North Ranger. He calls it Power Ranger, 4 meter. Thank you very much, Schniddy on foil. If you don't follow him on Instagram, you should. Then we have the BRM Maliko V1, 4 meter. Is it still any good? Here, I got the pouch with it. Then we have the Flow D-Wing. It's the only one that I actually own. I got it with a little discount, 4.2 square meters. We have the new Roger. Is it gonna be different than the old Roger or the first generation? Let's find out. We have the Nash Morph. Thank you very much, Jan Schenk. He wants to sell it. If you want to buy it on a very good price, stay tuned. We have the Fly Surfer POW, very different to the rest, I would say. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Parawings, but there's one more. This one I already had to send back. It's the Ozone Pocket Rocket. It's not in that comparison. And which one is also not in comparison because it wasn't here yet is the F1 Frigate or Frigate, not even sure how you pronounce that. If by any chance someone from F1 is watching and you want to have your Parawing tested on my standards, then hit me up in the comments or on Instagram. Now, I've used every of these Parawings for between 2 and 3 hours in the last 10, 12 days. And the wind was not always super good. It was usually between 15 or maybe a little lower sometimes and 20 knots. I've used a big board to actually get on foil. So if you're into downwinding in waves and you want a smaller board, maybe you need to adjust which one you take. I'm an average foiler. I know how to pump foil, dog start. I'm an okay winger. Sometimes I don't even stand my tacks, but jibing is mostly all right. And with the Parawing, I did a few downwinders, which were okay, I guess, but I'm still a beginner. If you're also a beginner and think about, well, I want to get into Parawing, which one should I take? Then this video might be for you. So the first one is gonna be the D-Wing from Flow. It's the only Parawing I actually own. I bought it with a little discount and I really hope that it's gonna be the best. And when I took it out of the little bag it comes with, it feels very good. Like it feels solid. The material is not super light, but also not super heavy. You have colored lines, which is good. The bar is pretty light with a little more than 100 grams. And when I just popped it open the first time, it felt good. It felt good. The problem was that there was not a lot of wind and the corner started to dip a little bit. So I had to work a lot to keep it flying while I was not on foil. So that's a little disadvantage maybe, but you can really pump it hard. Like it stays stable. It doesn't fold in too much. When I was a little overpowered, which didn't happen a lot, but a little bit, then it's really easy to hold it in the front of the bar and depower, and it still stays stable. It doesn't fly around too much, so really for the high end and the stability, it's really good. Going upwind was not super easy. There are better Parawings to go upwind, but you can of course go upwind with it. As for the ease of use, I gave it to my sisters as well. They were on the skateboard, and also they had some trouble keeping it flying because it started to dip. So that's maybe a little disadvantage, but as you can really yank at it, you can really pull it hard and it stays stable. So I would say the D-Wing from Flow is a solid Parawing. I've used the 4.2. Nothing too special, but a really solid Parawing. If you get that Parawing, you're good to go. That's fine. At the end of this video, I'm going to tell you which one I would keep if I were to keep one. All right, let's get into the next Parawing. One I was not familiar with before. It's the Aeryn P1 4 meter. And when I took it out of the bag the first time, I was quite shocked because the material of the canopy is so thick. And I was really thinking, well, does that even fly? As well, the bar is pretty heavy. It's almost as heavy as the one from Ensis, 170 grams. There are a lot of bridles, all white, although you have red and black, so you know which one is the front line. But honestly, I forget all the time. So the red one is the front, good to know. But I was actually surprised because even though it is quite heavy, it flew quite well. If there's a little bit of wind, then it starts to fly, and it's a really solid Parawing. You have a solid low end. You can yank a little bit at it, not too much, but you can do that a little bit. It goes upwind better than other Parawings. It has a little more grunt than other Parawings. It's really probably the middle Parawing. The only thing, it's a little under 700 francs, which is 200-300 francs cheaper than other Parawings. So it's a little bit cheaper. You can feel it though. It doesn't feel really top-notch, big knots, big bar, a little bulky everything, but if you get this Parawing for Christmas, you can be lucky. You might not look as cool as other kids, but you can have a solid Parawing where you can go upwind decently, downwind decently, and if you're overpowered as well, the Aeryn P1 can handle that as well. Thank you Adi Tadori, who actually gave me this to try out. If you are in the market for a P1, check out Who Kites, the Instagram page. He is the one representing Aeryn in Switzerland. A decent Parawing. Let's talk about the Ozone Pocket Rocket. And I don't have it here with me anymore. I had to send it back after a week. So the first week, it's the Parawing I use the most. And it's a very good Parawing as well. It is pretty light. It's a little more than 650 grams. The bar, 150. Pretty big, but comfortable. I got that with the pouch and the hook for the harness. The material, the canopy is super light. The profile is reinforced, which is good. The bridles are on the longer side with 1 meter and 87 centimeters, but it was not too far to take it in and to stuff it. It's a really decent Parawing. It's good before you're on foil. It's nice when you're on foil. The top end is very good. You're barely overpowered at all. The only thing that I would say is that you cannot really pull that low end grunt is a little bit missing, especially if you compare it to other Parawings. All right, let's continue with the Maliko, the version 1 of BRM. It's the 4 meter here, and I got this with this little pouch that you can put it in. And there as well, if you take it out of the pouch, you instantly feel it. The material is so light, and the Parawing as well is very light. It's 510 grams, which is one of the lighter Parawings. The bar as well, I weighted it at under 100 grams, which is really light. You don't have different colors. That's for the new ones, and you're not very sure which one is the front and the back. It's the one with the number. I had to learn though. And yeah, if you take it out, It's really light, as I said. You got reinforcements as well. And honestly, that's the Parawing that flew the easiest. You take it out, there's a little bit of breeze, and it just starts to fly. That's due to the light material and also how it's built. And if I were to give a Parawing to my sisters to use on the skateboard, for example, I would give them this one because it's just so easy to use. It is stable, it turns well, it is forgiving, so if you make a mistake, you can easily just recover it. And also the lines were one of the shortest with under 1 meter and 60 centimeters short lines, which makes it super easy to take in. The only problem there as well, if you take it in, you have the front part which is still out in the wind, so it can still catch some wind if you take it on all the bridles. So really this Parawing is so easy to use. It goes upwind pretty well, I would say, compared to some others. It goes upwind well. The only issue with that, I would say, is you cannot really pump it. If you yank at it, it starts to fall down, gives that harmonica effect, which really doesn't help. I also have to address this pouch, because usually you have that, it's like a waist pouch and you can stuff it in pretty easily, which is cool, but I've lost a Parawing due to that. Fortunately, I was able to find it again, but it can really get out easy. There's just a little Velcro here, but yeah, it can really just get out. But this is a very good beginner Parawing, even though ease of use, I would say the bar is not super because the lines get tangled very easily on these edges, and there are a lot of lines, as I've said, same color, so that's not that helpful. But the Parawing itself, it flies super well. That's a good option. If you can get a V1, a Maliko BRM, they're a bit cheaper than the new ones. They're really good, so I can recommend the BRM Maliko 100%. As for the high end, if you get overpowered, you can take it on the front of the bar. It releases some power, so again, there, it is not difficult to handle that Parawing. It's a good Parawing. Before we continue with the next Parawing, which is going to be the Morph, Nash's Morph 4 meter, let me just tell you how I tested it. I usually went out with 2 or 3 Parawings so I can have them in the same wind or as similar wind as possible, and I just changed it on the water. I had 2.5 hours with each Parawing so far in, as I've said, maybe a maximum of 20 knots, but I never was super heavily overpowered. But let's get into the Morph. Thank you, Jan, for just 2 days before leaving, he asked, do you want to test the Morph as well? I said, yes, of course, let's do it. And he said, yeah, I can pick it up. So on my way up here, I picked up Nash's Morph 4 centimeters. And what you find out, or what you can see really quickly, it's got this pulley system, and it should adjust the Parawing when it's flying. And honestly, we're gonna come to that, it was actually not too bad. You can see here the bar, colored lines, and also there, if you take it out, the red part is the front part of the Parawing, which is really cool, so that helps a lot. Also, the material is pretty light. The Parawing is a little more than 600 grams, so really thin materials. And the front part, where it's doubled here, it's pretty big, so that's the first impression that I got. I took it out, and the wind was not super strong, and that was really hard for the Morph. So keeping it up in the air is not simple if it's not blowing a lot, and the pulley system in light winds is actually not that great because it was not super stable. It was a little sloggy, and it was always, when I wanted to get it out, it needed some time to adjust, probably due to that pulley system. When I was up on foil and flying and gusts were coming in, that was really working well. So that pulley system distributed the weight and it didn't pull that much. Was a little bit different was when you have the bar, and the bar also is pretty light. It is at 125 grams. You have the pulley that like is in the way of your hand. So that's not super comfortable. Maybe one can have that a little longer, but other than that, it worked quite well. if the wind is not strong enough. You cannot really pump it. If you yank at it, they have the harmonica effect. I don't know if you call it like that. I call it harmonica effect, where really the whole Parawing moves a lot and you cannot really pump it. So if you're up on foil, very good Parawing. Strong winds, good Parawing. But if the wind is not super strong, then it is difficult with Nash's Morph. The profile is reinforced as well with that one, and if it's a lot of information to take in just over audio, I've written down every measurement that I took. You can go on uponfoil.com, there's a section for the Parawings, and there's a big table where all my measurements are there, so you can just go through that table. If you find this info helpful, then think about helping me out. There's a link in the description, buy me a coffee if you think, well, that was helpful for my purchase. Let's get into the next Parawing. So that was the Morph from Nash 4 meter. If you live in a very windy place and you want a strong wind Parawing, then maybe the Morph is something for you, and Jan actually wants to sell it for I think 650 francs. So if you want to buy that Morph, then hit me up in the comments or on DM on Instagram, and I can give you more information about that. Let's continue though with the next Parawing, and this is the Enzis Roger, and it's a new Roger. You might have used the first Roger, very high aspect Parawing, pretty fast Parawing, but had some trouble when you had too much power, so depowering, it folded in the edges, which was hard to use. This is the new Roger. It comes with this backpack, and if you take it out of the backpack, you feel it instantly. The material is thicker than other Parawings, but honestly, I don't think it's a big problem because it flies super well, and that thick material gives it a little more stability. The bar is the heaviest bar of all of them, almost 200 grams, but it's solid. It's got a good feel, and you have this collapse line in the middle. If you pull at it, the Parawing just folds into itself and loses all the power, which is good. They have the system where the bridles won't move, so you don't have a mess in the bridles, and they have this trimming line, so you can adjust the front and the A and B lines. You can adjust that to make it to trim it a little differently. The Enzis is very high aspect and it's super fast. I think it was the fastest Parawings that I've used. It's also very well maneuverable. It's not nervous, but you can super easily maneuver it. You can also yank at it, and it's just the middle part that kind of has this harmonica effect. So it's really the whole wing stays the same. It's just that middle part that moves. And honestly, as I've used it a lot, it's probably the one I was most familiar with. Now, that being said, if it's windy, it is super hard because it pulls on the hand like crazy. So you really need to ride that with a harness, and then you can just hold the front of it, or just put the harness to the front of the bar, and it doesn't yank that much, or it doesn't at the arms, and you can easily control it. It goes upwind very well. So I would say it's not a beginner wing still, but for me, it was a good wing, way better than the V1, and it comes in this little backpack, which is nice to take with you, but not really to get on the water. So it's a good set, and it's also not more expensive than all the rest. The front is also reinforced, so if you pack it away, it's a little bigger than its predecessor, but it works quite well. To pack it, it's actually good to like have all these reinforced parts together and then like fold it with those in hand so that you don't break these plastic lines. So the Enzis packs away also pretty nicely, but the backpack is way too big. But it's probably not bad, so you don't have to squish it too much. So the V2 is a lot better than the V1, that's for sure. The next Parawing we're going to talk about is the BRM Kanaha. And it's maybe a little bit an unfair of a comparison because it is 4.7 square meters, so it's bigger than the others. But a good friend of mine said that the Kanaha, good that you have it bigger because you need it bigger anyway. It's got a thinner profile. If you take it out of the pouch, here as well, the same material as the Maliko, or at least I think it is, super light. You have colored lines, yes, finally. And look at this tiny bar. It is very interesting because usually you have the front lines, the central lines, and the brake lines, and you have three different like parts of the bar. Here you just have two, and the front and the middle lines are attached to the front lines, and here a little triangle as well, and you actually hold it like this, and it's super comfortable. So that little bar, you might think, well, it's gonna be harder to maneuver, but it's so well balanced that even with that minimalistic little bar, it is super easy to fly. It's 25 centimeters, it's 60 grams, and really, if you hold it like that, it is super comfortable as well. You can go upwind very well with the Kanaha. That's what it was made for. And if it gets overpowered, you just go even more to the front and really can depower it very easily. It's super stable. Still with this bar, very maneuverable, and that's a Parawing that I would actually recommend a beginner or an advanced person. So really, again, BRM, of course, they're the pioneers, kind of, and they did a very well job with the Kanaha as well. If you pull it in to stow it away, also here you have like maybe 20-30 centimeters of canopy that is still catching wind, so that might be a problem. But those are the shortest lines of the one that I tested. The lines are, let me double check, at 1 meter and 54 centimeters, the center lines. So even if you're a smaller person, you can easily stow it away in one pull. So that's really good. A disadvantage maybe is the low end. As I've said, this is a bigger Parawing than others, and you cannot really pull it that hard. There's no low end grunt, so that's a little bit of a disadvantage. So you really need to go for a bigger one than the other one. All right, let's get into the North Ranger. Thank you very much, Schnitty, for a lot of talks, hour-long talks about Parawings. And he also gave me this to try. And what is very interesting at first, if you get that Parawing, is the backpack. And the backpack is really good. It is super comfortable. And I usually brought it with me when I was out, and I took 3 Parawings with me, one in the pouch, one in the backpack. And the backpack is so much more comfortable than the pouch, because the pouch sometimes fell over my hip. It was full of water, and on the back here, the water just went away, and you can really not feel the Parawing, even if it's wet, on the backpack. So that's really good thing. But let's get into the Parawing. Again, thanks Schnitty so much, and we're gonna have some more talks. The cool thing about the North Parawing as well is you have colored lines, so the light green is really very well visible. That's the front, and that's the only thing that distinguishes. If you have 3 different colors, you need to know which color is which. But here is the special color is the front line. So that's really cool. The bar is pretty long, but also quite light. The North Ranger is the only Parawing which has no plastic. It's not reinforced, the leading edge, and it's with 600 gram, not the lightest, but not the heaviest one either. I had my sister try it on the skateboard. Or even my kids, my daughter, 5-year-old daughter, she was handling that Parawing, and it is super maneuverable. It is pretty forgiving. The North Ranger, and Schnitty calls it Power Ranger, has that low end grunt. So you can really yank that Parawing. And if you just want to go on a downwinder, if you just want to like have the wind pull you on foil, the North Ranger is really good for that. What the North Ranger is not for is going upwind. Sometimes I had trouble getting upwind. Even if there was a lot of wind, you can depower it pretty easily, but going upwind is really kind of a pain with it. And I had to, for the last couple of 100 meters here, as the wind gets super unstable, I actually had to pack it away and paddle back up. Getting back upwind with the Ranger is difficult. as you might have heard from everyone else. Why is this a great downwind parawing? It is, as I said, super low end, so you can get on foil really quickly. You can probably take a smaller parawing of North than of any other brand, and the backpack's super great to pack it in and stow it away. And what's really cool, and I think that's the only parawing, is if you take the front lines and pull it in like that, there's actually almost no bridle left, so the parawing doesn't pick up wind even if you have it in. The bar is not the best, honestly, because the lines sometimes they stick on the bar, so that's maybe a bit of a disadvantage. But if you don't want to redeploy, you just want to get on foil, stow it away, that's a great parawing. And also price wise, it's the cheapest together with the Aeryn P1. It's a very nicely priced parawing, and if you're getting into it and just really want to get on foil, that's an amazing option. All right, last but not least, the Fly Surfer POW. And honestly, I was looking forward to that probably the most, because it's got some good reviews online, and of course I had to read them, you know? I cannot just not listen to it. What you feel, especially when you just take it out, it's super light, but very good material. And if you look at the bar, it's got the pulley system, but it's not like the Nash where it goes all over the place. It still stays between the A and the B lines. And look at this bar. It is pretty long. It's got this angle here. I'm gonna go into that. It's not super heavy though. It's 120 grams, so still pretty light. You can adjust the middle lines, but it does it by itself with the pulley. And if you're going upwind or you're going overpowered a bit, then you can really like take the front of the bar, and that's really super comfortable. More often than not, I was not holding it here at the bar, but really in front, so you can really try to depower. What is special about the POW is you can really yank it. It's almost like the North. It's almost like the North that I talked about just before. You can really yank these lines and the parawing stays up, so you can pump it really well. I'm not sure if the POW was made for free riding, but I guess so, because A, you cannot put it away with that bar very easily. Maybe depending on what pouch you have, you can, but when you take it in, then you have to really go 2 times because of the long lines, and then it comes in pretty well, but you have to go out twice. If you just go one stretch, unless you're super long and have a big span as well, then you have to go over twice, and that can be a little difficult. Also, maneuverability. The POW was pretty nervous because it's rather high aspect, I would say, but due to the long lines, it takes a while to maneuver it. And I would say it's probably a great parawing, and this is the 4.0, but the problem that I had with it is, and you know, I'm a beginner to intermediate maybe. I have some kiting background, so I should know how the lines work, but when you feel the very agile parawing going at a place and you want to correct it, it takes a while because the lines are significantly longer than the lines from the Kanaha, for example. So not super direct, and this takes a while to go over. Also, if you break it a little bit, and as it's very agile, kind of like the Anzus, I would say, the new Roger, and you break it, it goes back in the wind window, but it goes back way further because of the longer lines. So if you're a very good parawinger, the POW is probably something for you, but I would not recommend it for a beginner, even intermediate. It's just too difficult to manage. Yes, of course, you might get used to it, but yeah, it's probably not the beginner parawing you're looking for. And now we have the big question. Which one of these parawings is the best? Well, it could be so easy to just say, pick this one, but it depends on so many different things. I'm sorry to disappoint, there's no simple answer. The video is even going to continue. So if you want to get into just downwinding, getting up, going on the wave, going on foil, and just like stash it and go downwind, you need another Parawing than if you want to just go upwind and circle, or even go out in the flat. If you are here in the flat, then the Kanaha or even the Enzis is a really good Parawing, the new Roger. And also the Maliko V1 is really a great Parawing. If you want to just downwind and maybe shuttle upwind, then the North Ranger is an excellent choice. If you're on a budget and you think, well, I want to do a little bit of everything, but I'm not even sure if what I want to do, then the Aeryn also a very good choice. I can really say, if you have any of these Parawings, you're good to go. But what I must say, the Fly Surfer is a little bit more advanced. It's not on my level, but if you're very good, you come from kiting, you're a very good foiler already, then the POW might be the choice for you. But a question, which one would I choose? I personally, I go out in the flat, I downwind a little bit, but I want to go upwind as well. I would probably take, not sure. If I can only keep one. Damn it, it's difficult. I would probably, if I get a good deal on a V1 Maliko BRM, I would probably take that. If not, I would take the Enzis new Roger, because A, I'm used to it already. I like that it's easy maneuverable, and it really goes upwind well. You can also yank it a bit. And yeah, I would go with the Roger 4-meter, but only with harness. All right, I think that's been it. If you have a Parawing and maybe F1 is listening and you want your Parawing also compared by an average foiler like myself, please contact me, Instagram Matt on Foil, or in the comments here, and that would be super interesting. And I would say for now, that's been it. Please tell me in the comments if that was helpful for you. If yes, give it a like, share it with your friends or on your WhatsApp groups. And F1 actually sent me something. They sent me their K-Wing, the Plume, and I was actually able to get out with the Plume here. If you're interested in how that Plume actually compares to Parawings or even wings, then be sure to subscribe, because that video is going to drop in the next couple of weeks as well. And yeah, thank you very much. If there's any suggestion of what I missed, if you have questions about these Parawings that I didn't address in the video, please tell me so in the comments and we can continue our discussion there. Thanks for watching, thanks for liking. See you guys in the next one. That's been it.
Kannst du mir wirklich da hinten nachlaufen?
Im Film hast du das Ding.
Ah! Papi! Ah, nee.
Ist gut.
Papi!
Gut, dann hab's.